Welcome to Bitcoin Live / The Organized Media with me, Nick, and Shankar. We had some technical issues with Restream because they sometimes do updates, but we managed and we pulled through, and here we are. Happy New Year, Shankar. Welcome back to Bitcoin Live.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Nick, and really happy to be back after a gap of 2 months.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did an update. I had to cancel a couple of times, but here we are, 2 months later. Lots of things have happened.
The
I think before
call
we
just,
want to
are you
jump
there?
into, okay, is a connection okay?
It just froze the screen, I think. I can't
Okay.
hear you.
Well,
I can't hear you.
you can't hear me. Okay, that's not a good sign. Can
Um,
you hear me now?
Nick, I can't hear
Hello?
you. I can't hear you.
I'm gonna check if my microphone is on.
1 second.
Uh, so it seems we still have some
I can't.
technical issues here, some
Yeah,
audio issues.
now I can hear. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That makes conversation
Yeah,
much easier. So yeah,
yeah,
welcome back, Shankar. I think before we jump into Green Earth, you wanted to talk a little bit about the crypto markets. I think there's a lot happening right there. So yeah, where do you want to start off?
yeah. Uh, yeah. I think it's always important to understand the background landscape of the crypto industry, uh, because the blockchain industry, which is the larger background in which greener blockchain project is also operating. So the state of the sentiment and the state of the industry, the blockchain industry overall, and then the crypto industry within that plays a big role in the project momentum. And sometimes the momentum is slow, and sometimes it accelerates. Now, the thing that happened, like with the election of Trump in the US, they have very clearly signaled a pro crypto government, uh, and they have also very clearly stated that they will be looking forward to growing the holdings of Bitcoin as a government reserve, which is they're calling it the strategic reserve, which is a very interesting move. And already other governments, including in Asia, are saying the same thing. So, uh, and this is a sizable amount of buying that US is talking about. So, annual buying of about 200K Bitcoin per year for 5 years to buy 1 million Bitcoin. That's nearly 5% of total BTC supply. And it's not
Yeah.
there actually. Where do they buy from? So, if they indeed start off on that path, and I believe that they will start off on that path with some value, some amount for sure. It's The people coming in are of a view that they need to hold BTC because that's one way that they can fund some of the future projects.
Yeah.
And and it's also now then, if one government starts building a strategic reserve, then you can safely say that all the G7 countries or the G20 countries will also start having their own reserves, because no one wants to be completely left behind for on something like this. So, and suddenly we have the larger scenario where the the buying of Bitcoin from fiat currencies is looking like in a bigger momentum now, and so I do see that the the price of Bitcoin we had initially, if you remember, in our last we did a
Yeah.
call, just for the benefit of viewers, we did a call dedicated on crypto on 6th of Jan 2024. Okay, where we talked about 100K, 125K has been hit within December,
Yeah.
and uh, and so we are here on 5th Jan, exactly a year later, and here now we can say that the corrections will come for various reasons, and the previous highs of 65K, 70K can get tested in a flash almost. those kind of corrections.
Mhm.
If you go and study the log chart of Bitcoin, these kind of 20-30% corrections are very common in Bitcoin for various reasons. Because it's still a nascent asset compared to other assets. So the
Mhm.
adoption is still on the lower side. And when Bitcoin corrects like that with 20%, 30% in a period of few days, in
Mhm.
that point of time, the other altcoins, they have up to 50, 60, 70% corrections sometimes, very
Mhm.
fast knee-jerk corrections, and then they bounce back because the number of investors holding those altcoins are even fewer than Bitcoin, and they are even lesser capital. So therefore, there is in altcoins. I study their charts regularly, and there are periods when this the buyer completely disappears. So if you want to sell, like say a sizable amount of any token or coin, the buyer sitting very far away, so it's very illiquid. They become illiquid. So it's a sign
Yeah.
of a very young market. Even the top, and we're talking about within the top 100 market cap. We're not talking about some unknown
Yeah.
coin. Even within the top 100, top 50, top 25 cryptos, the price swings can be very drastic outside the Bitcoin. And so investors need to be aware of that. People need to be aware that these are very we are still in very young and nascent markets as an asset class, and the adoption is still at a very early stage. uh, just to give you a trivia or insight from my side, in my network there are still many people who don't want to hold any crypto,
Yeah.
and they are all
Yeah.
very well
Because of the
educated from
volatility.
top and top. No, because they don't believe in that asset class.
Mm. Okay. It's even worse.
It's because of that, and they are from very well educated, very well educated backgrounds, top end schools. Their income streams are good. It's not that, they can easily afford to buy 1,000 dogi and keep it for 5 years,
Mhm.
but they don't in
Yeah.
the first place,
So,
or they don't think that it is for that. So what it means is that we are still in very early stages. It means that it just
well,
so so therefore there's a long way
that's
to
a good.
go.
So I have two questions. Like the first one, you mentioned some Asian countries that might be interested in a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Can you maybe reveal which ones they are? Which
Yeah,
ones are talking about?
based on the news that I have been reading, the blogs, the ones that are expressing interest are, I think, Hong Kong, Taiwan. These two countries are very tech savvy countries. Taiwan and Hong Kong. Taiwan is actually very very tech savvy, and
Mhm.
it's a semiconductor hub. So they and outside Taiwan and Hong Kong, I believe China already has a strategic reserve. They never
Yeah.
disclose that, but they have been, though they have been controlling crypto industry as such, but they would have at a government level for sure. And I would say at some point Japan also would, if US starts its strategic reserve, Japan would for sure start because they are the other side on that, uh,
Yeah.
equally deep financial markets, and also very long term thinking that they take. So I would expect, once US formalizes its strategic reserve for Bitcoin and announces what they are doing as a plan and buying plan, buying policy, and sharing updates, we would rapidly hear countries including India, China, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, all of own plans and their own updates. So therefore, it will just take off. And I mean, as per the published data, we currently have US number one holder of BTC, and the number two is Ukraine. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's we don't know.
That's
We
an
don't know.
interesting fact.
Yes, and uh, I would have assumed China to be there somewhere in the top three, five, but it is not figuring anywhere. So it's basically probably not released the data. But yeah, I can safely say that based on how things have happened for other asset classes, uh, you can safely say that every country which is a large importer of gold, building reserves for BTC, because and these two countries who are large importers of gold are India and China.
Yeah,
So they
yeah,
so they
and I
will
think
surely go, and European countries as well. So they
and
will all build reserves.
yeah, and I think also, the countries that are very big into Bitcoin mining are probably also building those reserves, right? Like Russia and China and others. I mean,
Norway and
that's
Finland. Yeah,
Norway. Yeah. And and my
yeah,
personal opinion with Europe is that Europe is very well suited for Bitcoin because they're leading in the green energy transition. So it's kind of makes sense
mm,
to sort of link up Bitcoin, and it will take away a lot of pressure of Europe's energy markets. Reduce prices. Make the whole green transition lucrative and beneficial to everybody. So it's kind of stupid that they haven't embraced Bitcoin yet, in my opinion.
and I think that's the kind of change we may see in the next 1 or 2 years with the Trump government coming. It is a case of one
Yeah,
government, like especially the US government is a large one, and a 1 million buying plan is no small plan. It is 5% of BTC supply almost.
yeah,
So that is a very big plan, and then it will move others also to come in and start adopting and creating their own reserves. Uh, because if you have to create a reserve, you might as well create at 100k BTC level rather than 500k BTC level.
true, true.
So
And and the other
so
thing,
the first, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, there's a slight delay on the line probably, but the other question that I had, you mentioned a drop. So do you expect actually things to first rise and then drop, or do you expect this drop to be imminent at any moment now?
That's very difficult to tell. But uh, if I was looking at the BTC yearly data, yearly closing data, so in the recent years, or at least last 8 years of data, every 2 years of green closing means higher and higher closings. They are giving a following year with a lower closing, and then again the trend starts. So we've had two after the 2022 December closing it of around 16,500 17K level. December 2022, we had a closing at around 45 47K, I think, in 2023, and this time it's around 100K or 97 95K, whatever. So we made those big moves in last 2 years from 17K lows. Past data says that this usually gives a correction and then creates a lower closing, and then again the new highs start coming in. So it doesn't mean that we won't see newer highs during the year. It's possible. So it's possible that you may see 125 150K also, and then hit 70K and close around that, and then again take off towards 250K 300K. uh, the point is that the buying from governments with BTC strategic reserve, this is a very large capital, which is fiat capital coming into BTC. There is the moment that starts, uh, that was one source of capital which was not coming into Bitcoin till now.
Yep.
It was, till now, it was private investors, funds, they were buying. So the moment we have that, then the upsides to $1 million on Bitcoin and beyond, because it's because it is a very large capital pool that would come and take away BTC. So therefore, I would tell everyone who is involved in crypto that uh, it has done so much so far. Bitcoin has done from below $1 till 100K. So don't try to time and doubt those short moves again, because that's how most people got left out on Bitcoin
Yeah.
and every crypto. So 100K, 70K, 60K, what is high, what is low? So basically, if the way to see it is that whatever you're buying, there was a very good comment by someone on Twitter to a post I made, that if one is holding BTC for a 4 year period, they're always getting some gain.
Yeah.
I think so. So I would say that one, whatever you are, even if it is a 0.0001 BTC you're buying, or let's say $10, willingness to hold that for some time is very important, because that's how things are worked out. And the scenario is evolving,
Yep.
as we are speaking, with governments trying to come in and hold reserves. And not only governments, if one or two governments come in, there are, these large sovereign funds. Like there is a sovereign fund in Singapore, so there are multiple sovereign funds in Saudi and UAE. They have large capital reserves. Even they will come in the picture to buy BTC for their, and these sovereign reserves, they operate on a 10, 20, 30-year time frames. They don't buy anything for any term. So their buying itself is for very long haul. So the crypto like BTC would suit their requirements so the moment they find a US government has started that, they would uh, they would also come in. So you have other forms of capital which is also very long term and very deep capital that will also start coming in. So in other words, it's very difficult to say what will happen on a month or quarterly basis, but the overall narrative is moving towards increasing adoption
Yep.
by larger capital pools, which means higher prices in Bitcoin can come, not necessarily next 1 month, 3 months. They're already coming, and but we had a big rally from 70K to 105K.
Yeah.
That's a 50% move. 70 to 105 is 30, exact 50% move.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had that in a matter of so just have to wait for some consolidation, correction, something not play out, and then again things will start. But people should definitely absolutely aim for 1 million Bitcoin
And then then you're talking about multiple years,
at 10x,
not.
a
Yeah.
10x
Yeah.
view. Yeah, I mean it will go there as
Yeah.
increased adoption happens. Um, do I have no doubt that Bitcoin will hit 1 million USD, but when I can't say.
Yeah. 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 The timing is, of
So
course, what everybody
yeah,
wants to know, but that's the most difficult
no,
part.
timing is very, yeah.
Yeah.
So that we were always sure that 100K will come. It has come, and now I think,
Yeah.
see, just to give you a perspective, uh, Bitcoin crossed the 10K threshold in 2017 for the first time.
Mhm.
Okay, in Q4 2017. Okay, it was around November.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2017, and in December, it has December 2024, it crossed 100K for the first time. So it took
Hmm.
7 years, 7 years to move from the threshold of 10K to the threshold of 100K.
Yeah.
It's fair to assume that it may take another 7 years to go to that threshold of 1 million. But the project is built for long haul duration, and
Mhm.
so I think it will go there as well. And it may take the same 7 years. People may want it tomorrow, but it won't happen. It may take 6 years, who knows? But 6, 7, whatever years, but it will go there eventually. And with larger buying, the prices will move on.
Yeah, and then even if it accelerates, then it might still take 3 years, uh, even if it's curving upwards or something along those lines. And
I think we
I
should
think.
no. I think we should not put the 3 year thing. That's where the people tend to, the wrong people tend to come in.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah, I
I think
think,
you're
yeah.
also pretty bullish on Litecoin, right? You want to talk a little
Yeah.
bit on
So
that before we move
yeah.
on?
So once we establish the base for Bitcoin, that there's a view
Yep.
here of 10x rise over the next 6 7 years, 7 years, let's say, just replicating what happened from 10K to 100K, 100K to 1 million, the same 10x move. This time, it's aided by larger capital pools, so it's possible, very much possible. So with that in place, with that hypothesis in place, the best way uh, for most investors is to buy Dogecoin, because we have seen in our research very clearly. Anybody can do the annual data study, and they will find that the Doge, uh, which has been our top pick for last 2 years, 3 years now, is always exceeding Bitcoin returns in those
Hmm.
3 4 5 year time frames. So uh, it's on the Bitcoin chain, and so truly decentralized project, one of the five truly decentralized projects: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, SHIB. So it's one of them. top pick for multiple reasons in terms of increasing adoption, global visibility. So I would say that will be the number one pick for ahead of LTC, ahead of Litecoin. So the number one remains Doge. Nothing has changed, and
But
the
then,
uh,
I do have like two questions on in that regard. The first one is, Litecoin is about to have like an ETF because it's more, yeah, basically commodity. It's sort of signaled that that might happen next month. Of course, it's very unsure and it's not financial advice. And the second question is, doesn't Dogecoin have an inflation problem? Right, the amount of new
yes,
tokens that is
yes,
created.
yes, they're 5% per annum. I think that's where it is, around 5%. So you're right. That is where it differs from both BTC and LTC. LTC is an exact copy of BTC with 4x more supply and 4 years behind in time
Yeah,
compared to BTC. Okay, so so the so when we take longer term view, LTC is extremely bullish because many of these many assume that BTC adoption starts with sovereign funds, with countries, strategic reserves. Some of the other countries and some of the other funds, they are seeing LTC. It's the same setup, technically same Bitcoin chain, just 4x more supply and 4 years behind in time. So it's on the a bit behind in terms of the supply release. They will say this is exactly that, and we should have this because at some point the price discovery will happen on this, and we have the biggest upside available here.
yeah,
So I expect that LTC at some point will just take off when those sovereign funds and some of like let's say some countries they uh, say Vietnam or Thailand, they may not have the ability to buy like let's say Hong Kong or Taiwan the Bitcoin reserves, but they may accumulate some LTC because that they can easily buy. And the hypothesis, and they will be seeing that some funds are buying. They will have some advisors who will say at least take this. If it takes off, it's a very big payoff for you. uh,
yeah,
and and that's how. So LTC has been lacking that larger buying to take it to the next level, because that signals that it has started following the path. So in I tell my friends that there are very few in the network who bought BTC at 100 level. Okay, today there are one or two, but there are not many. From 500 onwards, there are people. Okay, or 1,000 onwards, there are more. Uh, but nobody at 100 that I know in my immediate network or known people. So, or maybe has not disclosed. So, but LTC is giving you that opportunity to travel that path,
yeah.
which Bitcoin has done from 100 to uh, a path which is along that, not the same levels as price in BTC because it's higher supply, but it will show you
Mhm.
that path. So it's happening in front of everyone, and it will be quite poetic when LTC does that, and everybody would know that it happened in front of them, and they didn't participate in that.
Yeah, so it's kind of ironic because many people are always asking what will be the next Bitcoin, and but basically you're saying Litecoin
Yeah,
is the next Bitcoin.
Litecoin is the yes, I have no doubt. In terms of uh, structure and construction, it is exactly like Bitcoin, and it is at larger supply, 4x larger supply, exactly,
Yeah,
and it's bit behind in time because it started 4 years with a gap. So it's so there's more percentage to come out,
yeah,
and so the prices start really moving up as the supply starts closing out, when you're at 95, 97,
yeah.
98% mining done. And then so coming back to your question on Dogi, where the inflation problem exists, where it is uh, new supply about 5% they have factored, if I'm not mistaken. 5% is the annual inflation in Dogi. But the point is that the demand would be far exceeding any supply. Uh, I mean, once the once the demand to buy uh, a decentralized project like that starts increasing, then it's insufficient because the overall adoption is at such lower level that a
Mhm.
5% inflation does nothing to break its case as a
So,
as a preferred
so okay,
project.
But so where do you see the demand come from for doggy? I
Just
mean,
increasing awareness, and increasing awareness, education, and as people see that this is an asset class which is actually built for longer durations.
hmm.
And it I mean, safe to assume this, that if 5% is the supply inflation in doggy will absolutely uh, move more than 5% per annum in price.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. Yeah, yeah.
So you won't lose out on the supply. We have seen those charts. It is dealing in like 20x in 7 years, 8 years, like that. So 40x in 8 years to be exact. So it's at
Well,
another level of rally. So
and
it's
then
not that.
just to finish up, because you also mentioned SHIB, and I know you're super bullish also on Shiba coin.
Hmm.
Um, what are your outlook on that one then?
Uh, SHIB tends to rally along with Dogi. The project has its own use cases coming out. There's a very active forum on SHIB, which I'm a part of on Reddit, and uh, it's evolving. I would say SHIB is evolving, and it had some vision when it started with a very large supply, unlike any other project. Um, I would say that if we expect a big move in Dogi, Ethereum is a key because there's a strong correlation between Ethereum and SHIB because the Ethereum whales are holding Dogi to a large extent. So Ethereum price rise will also give you a Dogi price rise. Dogi also corresponds nicely with SHIB corresponds nicely with Dogi, and Dogi corresponds with BTC. So you have a token which is decentralized and responds very well to both Ethereum and Bitcoin in price rise. So how far it will go, we can't say, but it is safe to assume that it won't be lagging behind other tokens.
So if one doggy jumps, they all jump.
Yeah, yeah. In general, BTC and Ethereum rallies will also give you BTC, Ethereum, Dogi. They all will create SHIB, and it tends to come and spike very fast because adoption is even lower. So at some point it will increase, but I think it is evolving, and that's what I can say. It's evolving, and it's still in early stages.
Yeah, and then they're burning tokens, and I believe you also mentioned that it usually does multiples from what Doggy does. So Doggy jumps high, but SHIB usually jumps higher, right? If I
Higher, high, all those things are like relative, but it's because they are different on different time frames. They do
yeah,
different things. It's not
true.
always in the same time frame. So there will be periods when SHIB would be moving, and you can link that with Ethereum rallies, and sometimes it is linked with Dogi rallies. So there are different ways. But ultimately, each token needs to have its own set of people or holders who are not willing to sell at the first rally. And
Yeah,
so we know that those people belong to the Ethereum holders in the case of SHIB. So Ethereum rallies will definitely help SHIB, I think, and also Dogi rallies. So it's interesting the way it's set up. Of all the five decentralized tokens that I mentioned, SHIB is the one which is uh, more unclear and evolving, and but it is very interesting the way it is set up. So there's something behind in the whole setup which is very interesting. It's a very uncommon project. Okay,
yeah,
and so it's
and I also want
powerful.
to mention to the people who are listening, besides co-founder and CEO of Green Earth, you are also the founder of Kafila
Yes,
and also Amexis, the trading bot that you
AI trading
developed.
system. Yeah.
Because you have an AI background, an extensive AI background, but you're also an experienced long-term trader way before crypto, I believe.
Yes.
So you're not just anybody just saying stuff to the people who are listening. And we have done many shows already together, also many shows on Green Earth, and yeah. So I want people to be aware of when they hear you speak,
So
that
I
there's
think
a
I'll summarize the crypto market as summarized by this. This is a message that's going out on New Year for people in the network. I must say it here as well that the view is very bullish on Dogi for the next 6 years till December to the 2030. Okay,
Okay.
and uh, we may see 10x, 20x. I don't know how many x rise, but it's very bullish. So people should hold, in my view, some Dogi coin, or when it corrects, add some more. But in the next 6 years, we will be. I believe that we'll be very positively surprised by how far Dogi can go.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I am also a holder, still a holder of Dogecoin, and I also
Hmm.
hold some SHIB and some Litecoin. So
Yeah.
uh,
So
just for full disclosure, and this is not
yeah,
financial advice, but well, let's just
yeah,
jump into Green Earth, because that's why
yeah,
we're here.
yeah. So to
Only
now,
the seeds.
so the work of the day is to, yeah. So re-welcome on Restream, everyone. And so yeah, uh, this is our disclaimer. Green Earth
Yep.
blockchain token is the utility token meant for the working of the Green Earth blockchain project. The GEBT token does not represent any asset or security, and there are no guarantees of any type regarding the token price appreciation over any time frame. And forward-looking statements in this presentation are not guarantees of any performance or specific targets. And like in any software or blockchain project, technology risk and market risk are involved in this. So
Yes.
um, let me just take a few seconds or a minute to give a summary of our vision, which, in case somebody is seeing this program for the first time, um, see, our vision has 3 points. The Green Earth blockchain vision. And the first uh, part of Green Earth blockchain is to uh, bring value to the undervalued uh, parts of the natural ecosystem. And when we say undervalued, we actually mean undervalued, as in we believe that the natural resources, the knowledge about natural resources, about natural healing, about all kinds of things related to uh, things that come from nature, including the oxygen we breathe and the water we drink, they are taken for granted and almost assumed to be free, whereas they are not. And if we, and that is because they're assumed to be free or taken for granted by all capitalist systems, they tend to be abused significantly. So the vision of Green Earth is to show people that uh, what is the real value of these systems. An authentic, a food which is authentic, a natural product which is authentic, they have some value. And often the systems which are trying to do marketing on a mass scale, they are producing with various defects, adulterations, and to just bring prices down. So my common example that we quote is honey. We see honey on e-commerce sites at all prices. So, what is the real price of pure honey? Nobody knows. But we know that it is nowhere near the lower end prices that people quote, because many of them are adulterated with sugar syrup or some kind of
Yeah.
other thing. So, the reality is, because they are also marketed as pure honey from the forests, people think that yes, maybe this $1 per bottle is the real price of honey, whereas it is not. The real price of honey is probably somewhere around 18 or $20 per 1 kg or half kg, depending on what. Even within honey, we have the wild forest honey, which is grown in the forests and harvested by tribals, and then we have the boxed honey, which is more like farming, like farming of eggs by poultry hen, etc. So that comes at a lower cost because it's more managed. So the reality is that the prices are of authentic foods are much higher than some of the prices we see on e-commerce sites. And people think that those are authentic and real, but that's not the case. And we have done the studies, and that was the foundation part of this whole project, to realize that the authentic costs are higher than what the costs are visible in on popular sites. And therefore those products have certain trade-offs. Either they are having chemicals for preservation which are not really healthy, or they are compromised in some way, and that kind of information must be visible to people. So the purpose of Green Earth was to have a totally transparent chain of from the producer to the consumer, so that anyone who comes to our site, they can see the full chain of from the producer to the consumer. Every person involved in the product is visible by name, so that you know that this is the person, this is the entity which touched our product, created the product, packaged the product, delivered the product. And we also show how much each of them, including the producer or farmer, packaging unit, delivery, marketing unit, they have earned out of the amount paid by the customer. So that kind of transparency doesn't exist anywhere in the world, and we have created that system. So that's the first and core. The second is that we want to build a community of people who think like this, who value nature and natural resources and natural assets and knowledge about nature. Because we know that people like this are everywhere, but there is no one place where they can all come and say that, yes, this is our project. So Green Earth blockchain is that project where they can all come together, hold the tokens of the project for the work or contributions they do, and uh, as and when the project grows bigger and succeeds, they also benefit by holding the tokens of the project. And the
Mhm.
third vision is that we want this to be the most trusted blockchain uh, for standing for authenticity and transparency related to the natural aspects. I mean, as of now, for example, Bitcoin is the most trusted blockchain, but it doesn't specifically come towards uh, the cause that we are working for, which is to preserve natural resources, give them the value that they deserve, or also to help uh, people involved with nature. So that part, people involved with earth, with the lands, with the natural ecosystems, to bring transparency to that. So we want to be that blockchain which does that, and we want to have, or we aim to have 5 to 10 million users of GBT token. And if we do that, then it will put us into the top 10 crypto projects in total.
Yeah, so it's one of those projects that nobody knows about yet,
Mm.
but they should take notice, and that's why we're doing these shows, of course.
Right,
Also about
right.
the honey, I remember reading somewhere in the past that at some point they found honey in a chamber or a tomb of an Egyptian pharaoh, which was still edible.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's kind of
that's true.
amazing product, honey.
Yes, in fact, that's it is the only food product that does not become bad with time.
Yeah,
So it's something very unique, and in many of the natural uh, healing systems or natural therapists, they use honey as a very high grade antiseptic.
they called it
So,
the
for
food of the
example,
gods, right?
yeah, it's, I mean, it has properties. Obviously, if it honey which is pure can live 2,000 years, like, or
Wow.
maybe 5,000 years if it's in the pyramid. So, and it has antiseptic properties. So that it has something in it, and so yeah, and the thing is, this is the point. If people can understand that, just because more people want to eat pure honey, the honey production will not increase by itself. So
Yeah.
there it is like Bitcoin. I mean, just because, suppose tomorrow everybody in the world says, I want Bitcoin, we won't suddenly have like 1 billion Bitcoin coming from somewhere. No. Okay. Similarly, if the whole world says we want to eat pure honey only, and suppose there's a home test, like a diabetic test or whatever, sugar test. If we have the home test system which measures the purity of honey, and everybody wants pure authentic honey, we don't have that honey there, and you can't push those honeybees to produce more honey. That's very finite in supply, and it
Yeah.
has, and with year to year it goes up and down, but it is a fairly finite and to an extent reducing curve in production, because their habitats are reducing or lower
Yeah.
quality, etc., etc. So I mean, this is discussion which I had with Sandeep, my co-founder in Green Blockchain. Bitcoin is finite supply, pure authentic honey is decreasing supply.
Yeah, pure
So
scarcity.
so
Yeah.
it's not just static, it is lower, it's going lower year after year. So imagine the kind of price rise if it was actually tracking the authenticity. It is very very so that is the kind of message we want to take forward to people, that authentic foods and authentic natural products are actually quite scarce, and
and
their
and by
value needs to be,
raising
yeah,
and by
and by
raising
giving them
aware
higher score,
yeah
we give them the weightage in the system.
and by raising awareness about these facts, and
Yeah,
also sort of showing the true price, by showing the true price,
yeah,
people might also realize that they have to put more effort into creating more honey and habitats for bees, and
yeah.
yeah,
It's a natural system, and natural systems, they are multi-year, not even multi-year, multi-decade, in fact, multi-decade, and changes we make in a few years of abrupt actions, they disrupt systems for decades.
yeah,
It takes a long time for them to heal and recover. So that's a lot of awareness, and we want to publish. So this is the year 2025 when uh, we want to do that work, where we want to increase awareness of what we are doing through LinkedIn, through Twitter, through Facebook, and bring more people. So remember the community, the vision of the community. That is the driving part for this year. Okay. So let's get into this milestone slide. You can't read that what's written on the milestone because it's written in Hindi, but I'll read for the viewers. It is written Shimla, and the text is in Hindi, and this is Shimla, 97 kilometers ahead. So this is, we are going towards the Himalayas now, and Shimla is one of the foothills of those Himalayas. So just wanted to use that. We have an active team uh, presence in this state, which is a which is on the foothills of the Himalayas. So let me just summarize the milestones we had for the year 2024. The Green Earth blockchain became fully operational in 2024, which was a major milestone, and users started receiving GEBT tokens for their e-commerce transactions on Ganga project. So Ganga project was live, Green Earth was live, and the integration was completed. And when somebody buys a product, let's say a honey or any other turmeric or whatever products we have on Green Earth, they receive the tokens as per the calculations that are mentioned on the site in terms of its Green Earth rating score. And we have currently 100 plus natural products live on the Ganga project site with full blockchains visible end to
wow,
end. And so we want to add another 100 to 200 products this year, because that will complete the setup, or the base that we have with other suppliers, and then more will keep coming. And adding each supplier is a work itself, because Zenith blockchain is a hybrid project where the ground level team does the validation of the supplier to ensure that full authenticity is there, and then the blockchain gets created. And so there's a physical work on the ground for each product that joins the system, because that's how we can ensure the authenticity. And there's an ongoing work of tracking or validating. uh,
yeah,
so for example, when we suppose you send BTC to me, or LTC to me, or Dogi to me, there's a, the you will see that 25 verifications or 10 verifications. So similarly, in our case, there are these ongoing verifications on the ground for the transactions, for the producers, to ensure that, in this case it's producer, because the producer is the place of uh, likely corruption.
hmm,
Okay.
yeah,
So if we validate that regularly, there is no the remaining part of the chain, which is the packaging unit, the marketing unit, marketing team, they have no incentive for corrupting the product. So in this case, the higher likelihood is on the production side. So the the inspection and the validation efforts will also be higher on that front. So we have 100 plus products of that nature now, and I think 200 more may come in this year to make it 300 total. And that will be a sizable set of natural products, food products, and natural products which are not food, like skincare products. They're coming on Green Earth. And Then we also did a campaign. We started a campaign to plant 100,000 trees in central India in a barren land, and we said rupees 225, which is about 2.65 USD per tree, and for each person who uh, adopted a sapling, they received one GEBT token, which is about 1.1 USD. And so that project is in progress. About 2,000 saplings have been planted this year, and with more awareness and increasing awareness programs, we hope to do 50K trees in 2025, to reach 50,000 trees in 2025. And that project is in progress. It was a main project for to increase awareness and of GBT, as well as the project cause of Green Earth.
And
And
we
then,
covered it also in our last episodes.
yes, we covered that in the previous calls. And there was also some requirements to improve the user dashboard within Ganga project system, which is the e-commerce site, to show directly in one place where the user can see how many GBT he or she has earned from his various activities. So that's been done. And we also have started something called Ganga Knowledge Camp or Ganga Consciousness Camp. I think two of them have been done already on the ground with team members, to increase the awareness of what we are doing in Ganga project, and overall the work we are doing. And we will do more such camps in 2025. About one camp. Uh, Ideally, we would like to do one camp per month for 2 3 days, but we may do one camp per quarter in for this year. And the next one is that on Ganga project, which is our like e-commerce site, the one which people see and interact with. There we also have a place for ecotourism, which is also part of Green Earth use cases. And so ecotourism project groundwork has been started this year, where we will identify what kind of stays can are doing it correctly, and they can get listed on Green Earth Ganga project, and people can book those ecotourism stays through Ganga project and earn tokens for that. And so that part of selecting has started. So that use case has started, and we may see the ecotourism stays getting listed on Ganga project in 2025.
Nice.
And all of them, these are going to be mostly in the Himalayas as well as in the deserts of Rajasthan. So I think these are the two areas we are currently seeing.
I still have to visit
And
India.
yeah, of course, you could use one of those stays that we list on the site.
Yeah.
And
Sounds cool.
then we have 20 plus team members in different roles, and I think that will just keep growing. One second. Next slide is,
Yep.
yeah. So this is just a summary of gangaproject.com, which is our e-commerce site for people who have not heard this before. Ganga Project is the e-commerce partner and strategic partner of Greenearth blockchain, which is based and registered in the UK. So Ganga Project is the entity on the ground, because Greenearth blockchain is a hybrid project with a blockchain and physical chains on the ground. So the Ganga Project is the physical on the ground chain with the e-commerce setup that executes the vision of Greenearth blockchain on the ground. And and the products and the product blockchains, they all become visible on Ganga Project. And currently we are building the teams and the base in North and Central India by adding people selectively, case by case, who are motivated with our vision and who want to work with us. And that's how the team is growing on the ground. And these team members who are coming in different states, they are the people who will become our future validators and project nodes and admins.
Yeah. So to summarize, 2024, you have been building very hard and achieving many milestones. And so, are you expecting to see the fruits in 2025?
I think uh, I think 2025 will still continue to build the vision and execute When you say fruits, I think we are already seeing the first project live. But I mean, we have to define what a fruit means. Does fruit mean a spike in the token price, or does it mean adoption? I would say increased adoption is what we want to see, and our goal is to reach 100K users for GEBT, because as per my study of various crypto blockchain projects, projects have reached 100,000 users. They have then stabilized uh, fundamentally at us and then moved on further. And below that is when they are not really set up for the longer haul. So they can still fade away. So we want to reach there, the 100K mark. I think 100K users for GB token. Whenever we reach that, aim is to do that hopefully this year or maybe by next year. But when we do that, at that point, we know that Green Earth project and GBT token is now firmly established fundamentally, and future growth will come in various directions. But the project is here to stay.
Yeah, you first have to create the base before you
So
can.
so I would say, so fruits of success sounds very attractive, but I think it's for another time. We will keep
Yeah,
working this year.
yeah. It's a huge project, a huge undertaking. I mean, like you say, you have to add every product by hand
And
almost. You know, it's like
yes, and there's also a lot of awareness building. People are when they hear the concept, they immediately want to know more, participate. So that is making sense. So that's why I said this is the year where we have to build awareness for the
yeah,
project, and that will bring new users. Now, how many users we will see, but I think the awareness will take us forward, because the project that is technically there,
yeah.
constructed, operating, and it can now scale up in terms of user base.
And at the moment, you're of course focused and based in India, but eventually it will
Yes,
grow much bigger. At least that's sort of the goal.
yes. In
Yeah, yeah,
fact, the community part, the community which is of like-minded people who value the earth, the nature, the ecosystems, and appreciate the efforts to preserve that and its value. They are all over the world, and so when we say this year we want to build the community, that will so while the Ganga project e-commerce system will be in India, the community expansion would happen this year, and we expect to have people coming from different parts of the world into the Green Earth project in various roles this year.
yep. Well, and here we have honey. We already
Yeah, this
mentioned it.
yeah, this is the sample in case somebody hasn't seen or somebody seeing this for the first time. The video. This is just an example, a screenshot of the of a wild. It's called wild mixed flower forest honey. So it's within honeys also you have like one specific flower sometimes. So this is a mixed flower. I mean, as natural as it can get in a forest. And so this is taken directly from the tribals who are taking this honey from the forest in central India, with a very dense forest there. And so the chain is what makes this project really unique. So we on the chain you can see the entire uh, set of people who are involved in the production of this product, from the farmer, or in this case the farming unit, which could also be in the case this tribal unit which is producing the honey, and marketing unit, the validator. There's a project unit there in each region, that, and there's a beneficiary, a 4%. If you see, there's a 4% beneficiary in every
Yep,
chain, and these beneficiaries are basically people who are handicapped in some way, and
yep,
or socially marginalized, weaker sections, and these are people who are supporting the Green Earth blockchain project on the ground, despite their various limitations. And so 4% of every product that we sell, we allocate it for their benefit, the handicapped people. And so that is the beneficiaries are those 4%. That 4% is the beneficiaries, and they are trying to help the project and increase awareness despite their handicaps and limitations. So that's why we want to help that section through our project.
yep.
And there's a 20% for Ganga project, which is the platform fees for to run this whole show. And that
Yep.
20% that is coming to Ganga project is the income for the project, and which we move forward and keep working.
Yep.
That's our margin. And if you see the next slide,
Yes. Uh, the adopt a sapling
yep.
slide.
So
Yep.
this is the one
Okay.
that we have discussed earlier, just for reference purposes to people, that this project, we will continue to take it forward to more people this year. And because this is something that needs to be done year after year to rebuild the forestation. And we what makes the project by Green Earth unique is that each and every sapling that is planted has a unique identifier or reference number, and that can be visible to the person who has adopted the sapling in his dashboard on Ganga project. So that makes
And
it unique. And there's a token which is released, one token per sapling, 1 GB token per sapling. And if anything happens to the sapling in the first 2 years, which is the usual period of mortality, we would replace that with another sapling from our nursery. So once a person adopts a sapling, he or she will always have a sapling on his or her name. So with the it's fully tracked and fully replaceable, fully insured. So this is something that we think that more people will adopt as in awareness increases, because we started last year in the summer. And the thing to remember is that saplings can only be planted in monsoon, which is
mhm.
the period in July, August. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
so there's a very limited window to plant them. So while we collect the adoptions at different points of the year, suppose today you say, I want to adopt, let's say, one sapling. So you would pay for that, but the message you'll get is that that's good, but the sapling would actually get planted in July, because that's when the season is suitable.
yeah, so there's a lag there. And this is also a highly creative way to use non-fungible tokens. And these days they call it real-world assets, I guess, would be the term, the
Hmm.
buzzword. But yeah, I really like the sapling initiative, as well as the use case of NFTs that Green Earth
Hmm.
provides.
Yeah.
So
Next
should we go
slide.
to the next slide? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also a slight delay in the slides, but we just switched
Yeah.
to the next one.
So the next slide is basically a summary of what we are seeing in the year 2025. And so far, our vision is to see India as the largest user base for GBT, because maximum adoption and use cases are going to roll out here. And 1 million GBT users is the target milestone for us. And as we discussed earlier, 100k GBT users is the first requirement, because that ensures that we are on the right track. And by reaching 100k users, we know that we have established the project. But our vision for India is to reach 1 million GBT users. Actually, a lot more is possible in India once we take off, but 1 million is where we are seeing as our target. And if we reach that, already many things would be happening. And to reach that 1 million users, we would need 10,000 validators across India,
Yeah, so
validators and
you're also
associates.
providing jobs at the
Yes,
same time.
validators and associates. There are two kinds of people. Associates are people who are marketing the project or increasing the awareness of the project in cities and urban locations. Validators are typically in rural areas where the production is happening. So together, 10,000 validators and associates. Yes, they would both be earning from the project income. Yes, so they would be there in the validator you saw in the chain. Associate will also come in some in the marketing budget. So that's the jobs, part-time jobs, full-time jobs combination. And we hope that 100,000 GBT user base may come by December 2025 if we do the steps we planned. It may move forward into 2026 as well. Depends on the speed at which we can increase. There's also an element of funding here, because we have been working with limited funds for this project, and we were expecting some more funds to come in through new investors. That has not played out yet, for various other reasons, not specific to the project. But as and when those new capital come in to the project, we can do some more programs to increase awareness through social media and on the ground camps as well in different cities, and those will lead to wider awareness and wider adoption. So I would say that the 100,000 GBT user base is a bit of a function of the investment capital coming in at whichever point it comes. But we are going to reach there. I have no doubt. It's a case of how long we take there. Whether it happens this year or the next year, it's going to happen in the next 12 to 24 months. And at that point, we can safely say that the Green Earth project and GB token are now fundamentally established. And now we can look forward to the 1 million milestone. Just like, in BTC, 10K to 100K, 100K to 1 million, the same steps here as well.
Yeah, and I
And
think it's probably also related to the crypto market and crypto adoption in general, right? Like you
uh,
said, like many people in your network are still not fully they don't still not believe in crypto as having a
yeah,
use, like a real use case, while your project is demonstrating like it has the ultimate use case if you implement it. You know,
yeah.
yeah,
We have within India, we have seen a very positive reception to the concept of GEBT. So when we speak with people in the towns and villages about what we are doing, even in cities, towns, villages, everywhere, but even more in the rural areas, when we explain to them that what the project is, what Green Earth is
yeah,
doing, what is Ganga project on the ground, and what the token does, they're all quite motivated because they get the token in addition to the fiat payments that they're anyway getting from the products and for participating in the chain. So the token is basically a reward for authenticity and transparency. So they value that. And so yeah, so the real work for us as a project, now that we have the system live and operational, is to go out to more people and increase the awareness for that. We already have 100 plus products in the system. We'll add some more, but we need to get people coming onto the site and understanding the whole concept at all in the first place. So we do that
yeah.
this year. And there's an important bullet here in the slide, which is that GBT listing on Indian crypto exchange is planned in 2025 or 2026. So so this is also going to coincide with the 100K GBT user base, because once we list GBT in India, we expect the user base to also increase uh, significantly from that point. So the listing also is a function of the capital that we want to bring into the project through investment. So the whole thing is like tied up together. But
Yeah.
that's part of the goal we have to list GBT on an Indian exchange. So we will see when that happens, and that will be a trigger for further user base increase. And the last point is something which some people often ask, how the price will stabilize or grow. And I would say that it's mentioned very clearly in our white paper as well, that the regular buyback of GBT tokens from the exchanges using project income will support the token price. For example, in the blockchain, we saw earlier on the Honey slide, there we saw 20% for Green Earth blockchain. So
Mhm.
Ganga project. For Ganga project, there was 20% platform fees. That's the income for the project. So a part of that income would go into buying GBT tokens back from the exchanges, and that's how we want to keep supporting the token price at
Yeah.
various. Suppose there's a sell-off, um, we are there with whatever income we have. We would be buying that to absorb the tokens and keep supporting the prices. So that's part of our vision, to keep buying from the exchanges.
And of course, running this whole operation also costs a lot of money. You know, these
Yes,
setting up the supply chains and
yes,
matching
and
it
that
up.
is why. So that's why if we have this, as the scale increases, that same 20% margin on the products is going to provide you enough absolute value of amount to do all the things.
Yeah.
So so
That-
that's the goal is to so the increasing user base will provide all these requirements. And the last slide is the unique opportunity for growth. We covered this slide in the previous call as well, but I'll just summarize it. There are three things that people can look forward to when they participate in the Green Earth blockchain project. The GEBT token, with its significant focus on the Indian market and system, has a unique opportunity to be the or become the Bitcoin of India, because almost more than half the people who currently have GBT with them in their wallets, they have no other crypto. GBT is their first crypto, and that is
Gateway.
yes, that's an achievement, because we are educating people in rural India about crypto, and the first crypto that they ever had, and they don't have any other crypto as of now. They have only this in their wallets, GBT. So GBT for them, for these half of our users and many more as they're coming in this year, when they hear the word crypto, they always think of GBT, because that's the crypto they own, that they know. So that is a huge point for GBT to expand on, and if we can keep growing that with a million users and half of them having
Yeah.
GBT as their first crypto, I think that will be a huge achievement in terms of both increasing awareness for crypto as a asset class, as a product class, or also about the what we do for the project and how they participate in this. Just the understanding of crypto in general, and second, the token. Once we list on Indian exchange, that's when we can move towards 1 million users, which will make it very strong, put it in probably the top 25 or top 50 by market cap as well, but definitely by user base.
Yeah.
And and uh, and the third point is that GBT token holders can also participate in our governance, where we share project options and people can vote. We will get that system. It's not in place yet. The voting systems for the users, and so that participation in the project roadmap and governance also will come down the road, but it's planned. And
That will be like a DAO, right? Because eventually you want to decentralize this project
yes,
as much
yes,
as possible.
yes,
And
that is the goal. The if it is decentralized, it will live long,
yeah, and
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 so
and,
we want
and
to
it
get
will
there.
keep the trust.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it is required that way. At some point, once we establish the project, all parts are working, and then there's a team to operate the site, a team to operate the other parts. So we are far from there, but that's also the vision, to make it there so that it's independent of any one person.
and I think that's for especially for our audience is very sort of passionate about decentralization. So I
Yes.
think it's important to emphasize that that's sort of the end goal and the
Oh, yes.
mission to sort
Yes.
of give
End
it back.
goal is, yeah, greener project. If in our vision, in its successful outcome, uh, the in the vision, the greener blockchain will be something which is operating all over the world in different countries in different ways, and it is there is no one person or group of people who are deciding everything. It is decentralized.
Yeah, yeah. So that's. I mean, that's also why I love the whole project. I mean, what it stands for, what it aims to achieve. It will also lower the cost of food eventually, right? By making everything transparent and cutting out the middleman, and
Yeah,
promoting.
the cost of authentic food can come down through greener blockchain, because if a product is on let's say Ganga project or greener blockchain, then it's already verified for authenticity. So you don't need any other organic or bio label on it. That itself is sufficient proof that this is authentic. So today, a lot of costs go in acquiring those certifications and labels, and the food product prices are higher because of that. So I think that is the cost involved in organic or bio certifications is the cost that can be taken out by green earth blockchain.
Yeah, and you promote localized food production, so also localized work,
Yeah,
and better food, higher quality food, organic food, basically, reducing costs, cutting out the middleman,
yeah,
and then eventually also being decentralized as far as possible. I
yes,
think that makes it a very unique and very powerful project, which also demonstrates the use case of blockchain and crypto on the ground, right in the real world.
in the
What
real
people
world.
are
Yeah,
always talking about, but you're actually demonstrating it in real life.
yeah, that's the goal. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So I love doing these shows, and I think you're doing great work from what I can see,
thank you.
and I can't wait till the next update.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nick, for having me and Green Earth Blockchain on your show. We always like to share updates through your channel, and so yeah, I'm very happy that we spoke today in the first week of Jan, just like we did on 2004, 2024, first week of Jan. Share the overall crypto market view, which is bullish, continues to be bullish, and our own work on Green Earth Blockchain, which is a pretty long haul project by the way you see things in the parts of the project. So, but yeah, so we want to do that, and we will reconnect with more updates maybe in a month or so.
Yeah, and for people who want to join and learn more, follow all these links. We'll also link it down below. We'll also link down the previous shows in the playlist down below the video on YouTube.
Yeah,
And yeah, a project with so many moving parts, it makes sense that it takes some time to get it all on the road and working. But yeah, I think you're doing an
yeah,
amazing
that's
job.
true. Yeah, thank you so much, Nick, and I wish a happy New Year to everyone who is listening to this video, and may God bless everybody. Thank you.
Same here. Take care, Shankar, and see everybody soon. And also,
Thank you.
thank you, the organized media. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.